The last 45 minutes, there are new figures out today on how many older Australians are living in poverty. The numbers are not good. The old age poverty rate, as I've just mentioned to that previous caller, is at 33%. So of the 4.9 million people in Australia who are over the age of 60, 33% of them are living under the poverty line, which is shocking for a country that even Oxfam says is supposed to be one of the wealthiest in the world. Why does that occur? Australia's also slipped on the world list that ranks the well-being of people who are over the age of 60. We're now at number 17. So for a lot of older people, just having the basics is a real struggle. And, of course, getting big bills can be catastrophic. So is it any surprise that more than half of older Australians get very, very stressed paying household bills? And I want to go to the FiftyUp Club on this point because they've just done a survey which says that private health insurance is the hardest to pay. And 9% of people are even forced to cut back on essentials like food and heating when big bills arrive. Does that sound familiar to you? Christopher Zinn from the FiftyUp Club joins me on the line right now. Chris, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Chris.
Yeah, interesting. If you combine what you have found in your survey and this old age poverty rate, which sits at 33%, and the fact that we've slipped down there, we shouldn't be ignoring what is staring us in the face, which is our inability to pay big bills.
Exactly, and we shouldn't either accept that 1/3 of older Australians in poverty is somehow normal and that's a new benchmark. We've got to really query that and question it. And certainly bills and the ability to pay them is right up there. So as you've said, in terms of the bill stress, we ask people to evaluate the stress they faced in pacing bills, and 14% in Queensland were extreme or high. That's pretty bad. About 11% in New South Wales. Now the rest of them, up to that more than half figure you referred to, described it as mild, but mild stress, it's still a stress and it's still significant. So yeah, we were interested to interrogate what was the stress and how it came to them, and it's really up for the kind of the policymakers who we intend to take this fair go for the 50 ups in Canberra too, to help us come up with solutions.
Yeah, it's interesting. I would have thought your telecommunications bill, your phone bill, or your power bill were the things that really grated, and to a certain degree people would expect to pay their health insurance and be happy that they were secure, but it seems as if the health insurance bill is the one that pinches the most.
That was by a country mile the highest, so 29% of people said that was the hardest to pay. Interestingly, we asked about broadband, more specifically than telecommunications, but that was like 0.5%. Nobody really rated that at all. Electricity was 23%, so the electricity and private health insurance were right up there, and I think that's because, private health insurance jumps up significantly once a year. Electricity has done, but, we've had a cold winter, so presumably people's power bills have been higher.
Yeah, and they're cutting back as a result, right?
Yeah, exactly. So we also asked, what are the sacrifices that you made? And as you mentioned, 9% of people cut back on essentials like food and heating, but 30% really dipped into their savings. Now, savings are really something that you generally have, in terms of a longer-term goal like retirement, whereas bills are more of a shorter-term need. So, obviously, if you're rating your savings to pay bills, that's going to come at the cost of longer-term objectives that you might have. So it's something that we obviously do from time to time, but it is of a limited shelf life before you actually run out and you can't dip into the savings anymore.
Yeah, which is an additional worry, I would have thought. How do you think we can help relieve bill stress for people?
Look, I think part of it is there needs to be a policy response, and often that is about how to make people ensure their bills are low, that they're making the right decisions about the provider, they're making the right decisions about usage. But ultimately, we don't have price controls. So, there is a cost which people have to meet. And, we hear a lot about making private health insurance more affordable. I'd have to say a lot of the reforms are really around the margins and, because health costs go up significantly, much more than the CPI. So it is a very vexed issue. Some of it is, I'd suggest, around the empowerment, how we can give people tools and information to control their bills better. But, it may well be that there has to be some sort of regulation, or maybe older Australians, helping them specifically. Now, of course, the pension and retirement incomes are right up there in terms of all of this. And as the combined pensioners and superannuants have said today, when you have a premium that's below 50% of the average wage, that's why we have such a high rate of income insecurity and poor economic well-being compared to other countries.
Yeah, I hope I can find a politician before the end of the day comment on this global index result and what you have found in this survey, or both. It seems to be that politicians are only interested in one story today. Thank you, Chris In.
That is, and that you can still go to the Fair Go website and fill in more of that questionnaire, and we can get more figures before we finally finish it and give you the wrap up a bit later.
Oh, good stuff. So they can go to 50upclub.com and take part in that survey.
Take part in the survey. Let us know your cost of living pressures. There's a lot more to this survey, and we'll have more of that in weeks to come. But as I say, we're going to try and get some answers from Canberra. Good
chat. Thank you, mate.
Cheers.
All right, Christopher's in 50 Up Club. On a day when we find out that Australia's old age poverty rate is at 33%. How is that so? So of the 4.9 million people in Australia over the age of 60, 33% of them are living under the poverty line. And you heard what 50 Up Club has found, a parallel to that survey about what people go without and how much they dip into their savings. I'll wait until a politician makes a statement on this today, because to not do so is showing great disrespect for our older Australians.